Good afternoon, everybody. If I can get everybody's attention up here, please. Good afternoon. Thank you. Folks, we are going to get our program started, so if we can have everyone who's still standing, please find a seat under the tent. And we are going to begin the program by sharing with you a look back before we talk about all the opportunity before us looking forward. So I'd ask you direct your attention up to the screen behind me and enjoy this look back at the road to Morganton.
We opened our doors in 1980, and at that time we're the first school of this kind in the country and in the world even, which is a publicly funded residential high school focused on STEM. We bring students in from all 13 congressional districts are involved in enrollment, and so that started in 1980, and we opened the doors with 150 students in the junior class and added 150 the next year, and this year we enroll 680 juniors and seniors in our residential program.
And now we want to expand to a new campus, and we want to get new students, more students coming.
I can remember being way down the road about a mile from here in September of 2017 at the City of Morganton Municipal Auditorium. We were there to share a momentous milestone for our institution. We were sharing a vision and a plan for how we were going to deliver on a promise we made to the citizens of North Carolina. We were going to extend a world-class institution that you all know quite well in North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics to a second physical campus here in Morganton. We had a group of talented experts from across the field of industries throughout the region of Western North Carolina and within the NCSSM family come together that year to really think through how best to leverage this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and do right by our school and our state.
It's really a tremendous opportunity to expand the mission of the school, to serve more students across North Carolina and take advantage of the resources and opportunities that present themselves in that part of the state.
The fact that NCSSM is locating in one of the rural communities around the state, I think that's a very important statement to the community about its value, and it's also a very important economic investment that needs to be made as well.
It is a wonderful, welcoming community. It is a community that embraces living, working, playing, having a good time.
I think the region will flourish with this expansion.
You're going to see new hotels being built. I think you're going to see a lot of independent type businesses open here. We're a very independent community as well. Independent restaurants, independent retailers. It's a wonderful place just to sit here on the front of this trolley and think about all that's going to happen in the next 5 years.
What I anticipate is that the students who will come to the School of Science and Mathematics will fall in love with our region, not just with Valdez, but all over Western North Carolina. And they will go on and finish their education and create businesses and do wonderful things and come back here because they will see this as a place that they want to spend their life.
As an alum of the third graduating class in 1984, this is coming full circle to me. So this is bringing an opportunity where we can learn from the past and also innovate for the future and provide more opportunities for more students to become part of the NCSSM family.
These students are going to be working on issues that will shape the future because they will be spending time developing and catalyzing solutions that are relevant for the future impacts.
So the students that we're looking for, they're intellectually curious, they're entrepreneurial, they're innovative in their thought processes, they're critical thinkers, and most importantly, I think, they are collaborative. They want to work with other students, they want to engage with faculty, they want to ask questions that have never been asked and answered before, and that creates an environment that helps them to thrive as an individual, but also as a community.
thing about science and math is that it's given me so many opportunities I normally wouldn't have, whether that be research or working with the robotics team here. It makes me really excited that we're moving to Morganton so we can serve more people.
It's incredibly hospitable. They're so excited about our coming. We're excited about being a part of this community. I can't imagine any town being more welcoming than the folks of Morganton have been. And I feel privileged to be at NCSSM at this time in its history.
A lot of times as an administrator, you may be able to build a new building or build a new sort of suite. There's very few times where you're actually building a new campus and opening a new campus, and so that's really exciting.
We're in the final preparations here for our groundbreaking event, which is going to be a massive experience here on the NCSSM Morganton site.
What a momentous day this is for not only NCSSM and the Unifor region in Western North Carolina, but the state as a whole. Not every day that we open a new campus of the university system in North Carolina, and so I think we need to recognize the symbolic and important nature of this event for our state as a whole.
Chancellor Roberts, on behalf of the Blue Ridge Healthcare Board of Directors, the management team, the medical staff, the employees, and indeed the residents and patients that we serve, we would like to make this donation of $5 million to the Western North Carolina campus of the North Carolina School of Science.
We're standing here in September 2020 on what used to be the eastern ridge of the North Carolina School for the Deaf, seeing a campus be born around us. That vision, which was on the master plan that was seeded back in 2017, has started to generate buildings and frames, site pathways and roadways, and you can begin to see just what's going to be available to students in a few short years.
Now that, we're here in Morganton, I couldn't be more excited.
NCSSM's road to Morganton has been quite a journey. We have spent years perfecting a curriculum, hiring out a workforce, and converting a historic ridgeline in Morganton, North Carolina to the home of a state-of-the-art campus for 300 students, the first of whom will start enrolling this fall. We are exceptionally proud of the progress we've made, and we are deeply appreciative to those who've seeded it.
My dad was telling me about his experiences here, and it sounded like a really magical place. And it seemed like it'd be really good for my education as well, so I really wanted to come here.
I had a completely different experience at Science and Math in Durham, and so now my kid is going to be coming to the brand new Science and Math, and it's really cool.
This is going to be something that we're going to look back on decades from now, I hope with great pride and a feeling of great success, and that hopefully my kids and their kids and lots of other kids across the state are going to value and cherish as a real gem for the state.
This is an investment that's not just going to pay off today, but it's going to pay off well into the future.
We have a chance to be the new pioneers and to help set the school on its new trajectory. And how many times in a career does anybody get to do that? It's fantastic.
You have contributed to this work and made a significant impact to our progress and our ability to build a state-of-the-art campus for Western North Carolina and for our whole state. We've raised more than $10 million privately for this project. It's an incredible lift for our institution, and it's only made possible through the generosity of so many, including you.
As the old adage says, it takes a village, and we have one heck of a village here supporting this institution.
Thank you all so much. A little trip down memory lane. We are going to invite up for a few brief remarks before we formally start the program Caleb Owolabi, who's a class of 2011. You saw him on the video, and he is the creator and producer of the Road to Morganton series that we just watched snippets of. Caleb, come on up.
Hello, hello. Thank you. Thank you all so much for being here. What wonderful weather, right? I mean, Kevin, you couldn't have picked a better day to have a grand opening. The groundbreaking, too, was great weather. Did you see it in that video? I am so overwhelmed with how supportive the school has been to me and to my family for this many years, being an alumni and a legacy at the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics. It's just been so overwhelming. And then into my career, allowing me to produce this web series. I was, I guess it's about 5 years ago or so when I pitched the idea, and it hadn't been so much done. There's not a lot of places where you could watch a web series like this, but the Chancellor Todd Roberts and Kevin was just so supportive, and I just so thankful for that, and for all of you. Some of you, many of you I might have interviewed. Thank you so much for interviewing with us and giving us your anecdotes about the school, and so happy that we're finally here. Thank you again. And just a quick order of business. My company is now taking on show narratives to pitch to network. We've had some recent success with a lot of different other shows, a nature series that I'm doing, as well as a cooking segment and other different things. So if you have story ideas, I'm looking to North Carolina and the Carolinas first. So be sure to reach out to me either at this event or even the other event as well. And my studio coordinator is here, Taina, just wave your hand so they can see where you are. You guys just share some of your ideas with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Caleb. The alumni of our institution are very entrepreneurial, never miss an opportunity to plug their opportunities. So I strongly encourage you to, Caleb's not going anywhere at the end of the program. Please find him up in the front of the room if you'd like to talk. He would love to talk to you and continue to tell stories across our great state. We are now going to begin the formal program, and to do that, I'm going to ask Bonnie Zhang to join me up on stage. And Bonnie is the outgoing SGA president because she just graduated. So she was a member of our board of trustees, class of 2022 at NCSSM, and she is a phenomenal ambassador of our institution and a star of the Road to Morgan as well. Bonnie, come on up.
Thank you so much, everyone. Hello, my name is Bonnie Zhang, and I had the pleasure of serving as the student body president for this past year at the Durham campus. Just having seen this campus, the Morganton one, at its bones, just on its frames, when it was just an empty building, and now being here with all of you, it's been amazing. Just seeing what the students are gonna see, the first students that will be here, and having that same feeling of exhilaration that they're gonna feel, it's amazing. I still think to myself how lucky I am to have spent 2 of my years at NCSM, and one of them being here in this position, just seeing what other students may never see, being here, making connections with people that I couldn't have found anywhere else, it's been an honor. Just being here is an experience that I can't describe in any other words. Just being here, building this foundation, building this home, building this place that will be the brightest future as math that anybody has ever seen, I can't wait. And with that, I want to invite all of you to stand up for the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. We're now very excited to bring to the stage a member of the Morganton community. Chancellor Roberts and I and members of our team were down at the Courthouse Square dedication for the city of Morganton about a month ago, and we had the absolute privilege of hearing Willette McIntosh perform the national anthem, and we immediately seized on it and said, can we please talk you into coming to our event too? We are thrilled to have her up here. She's a city employee, community leader, and an icon on the stage. So let's invite Willette McIntosh up for the Star Spangled Banner.
Can you see twilight last gleaming, whose brooks bright and bright as stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched was so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, toss that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of free and the home of the
What did I tell you? Absolutely. I would also hate to follow that performance, but unfortunately, the chair of our Board of Trustees has that distinction. That's poor planning for job security. But we're going to invite up to the stage next to welcome everyone and to continue the program, the chairman of our Board of Trustees and an alumnus and a vice president at Michigan State University, Dr. Jabbar Bennett.
Good afternoon, everyone. This isn't a hard act to follow, so thank you. As you heard, my name is Jabbar Bennett, and I have the pleasure of serving as the chair of the Board of Trustees at the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics. And I'm also a proud alumnus of the school, celebrating my 30-year reunion this fall, having graduated in 1992. When I arrived on the Durham campus back in August of 1990, I had no idea about the profound impact that the school would have on my life. I understood the value of education coming from a household in Winston-Salem. Anybody from Winston? All right, all right. With two college-educated parents and two older siblings who were pursuing their undergraduate degrees at the time. So coming to the School of Science and Math seemed like the next logical step toward achieving my academic goals. It was expected I would perform well in the classroom so that I could be admitted to my college of choice, which happened to be North Carolina A&T State University. Aggie pride, that's right. And I also did pretty well in track and field, setting a record that still stands today. Thank you very much. In the 110-meter high hurdles, in case you were interested. All right. So I'm pleased to say that I achieved my academic goals, but even more grateful for the personal development, emotional intelligence, and social awareness that I gained along the way. My classmates and I raised our voices in opposition locally to what we perceived at that time to be unjust practices, and we spoke out against global conflicts like Operation Desert Storm and the Gulf War. It was a time of introspection, individual maturation, and collective growth. And as we began to think about who we were at that time, and we began to think about who we aspired to be and the change we wanted to make in the world. Today marks a new chapter in the storied history of the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics, a history full of early challenges and unlimited future opportunities for our students, the city of Morganton, Durham, and the state of North Carolina. It is my hope that this community will welcome, embrace, challenge, and support the well-being of the young and impressionable and diverse students who will come to this place and call it home. It's important to remember that some will be first-generation college students and come to Morganton from schools that are differentially resourced. And it's our responsibility as a school and as a community to ensure that every student has full access to courses, tools, and experiences that will help them achieve their individual goals and for many, realize their own and their families' lifelong dreams. I'm elated to be here to celebrate the grand opening of this campus, which will help nurture the hidden and underdeveloped talent and potential of students who study here, as well as illuminate the pathway towards success as they define it for themselves. Thank you for choosing to be here today and investing in the future of our students, this community, the state of North Carolina, the nation, and the world. You can clap. And now it's my pleasure to introduce or welcome our Chancellor, Dr. Todd Roberts. And Todd joined us 12 years ago and is the 4th Chancellor of this institution. Under his leadership, the school has developed 2 5-year comprehensive strategic plans and overseen our growth and extension into Morganton. Dr. Roberts is a Durham native, consummate educator, and respected leader across the state and the nation. Please help me welcome Dr. Todd Roberts.
Good afternoon again to everyone who's here for this amazing day. What a fantastic and historic day this is for not only NCSSM, but for the UNC system, for our state as a whole. And it's just really wonderful to see so many of our NCSSM family and friends here today with us. Before I start, I really want to give thanks to a lot of our colleagues here on the Morganton campus and from the Durham campus who have made today possible. And what a spectacular day, again, as was said earlier, an amazing weather day. But, you know, to plan an event like this takes a lot of effort, and so I want to give credit to, you know, Kevin Baxter, who you've seen earlier, Ashley Grindstaff on campus, Margot Metzger, and the whole team here, and all the folks who came from Durham to make this possible. So let's give those folks a big round of applause. I also want to take a moment to give thanks to many of the partners who are here today that have not only helped to sponsor this event and make it possible, but have been longtime supporters for the school. I want to give a special thanks to the Leviton Corporation, represented here by Don Hendler, who's their CEO, who's down from New York. They were the first 6-figure investor in NCSSM Morganton and really kind of catalyzed the other donors who've contributed to the school. So I want to give a special shout out to them. If Don's here now, if you raise your hand just to say thanks. There he is right there. Also to Duke Energy, who's been a supporter for this event today, but also a longtime supporter of this whole project. And they're represented here today by Stephen DeMay. Their statewide president is Mr. DeMay here, right there. So thank you, guys. And then, as you saw on the video earlier, just about a year ago today, we were able to celebrate, at that time, the largest single gift in the school's history, a $5 million commitment by UNC Health Blue Ridge to support this campus and the Student Activities and Wellness Center. And so I want to give them a huge thanks for their early investment and major investment. So their CEO, Kathy Bailey, is here, I believe, and there she is. And Mike Bridges, their chair of their board, is right there. So Thank you all again for your amazing leadership, and you know, we've been able to continue to grow those supporters, and happy to say that we have with us today the most recent significant donor to the school, the folks from Google who are here right over there, Lylan Hester and others, I believe, right back there, Wayne Kimball. So thank you guys for your support. You know, it took vision back in the late 1970s to imagine an abandoned hospital in Durham becoming what it is today, which is, you know, a leader for STEM education, not only across our state, but across the nation and the globe. And so over these years, thousands of alumni have been inspired by their time at NCSSM, whether through our residential program, our virtual programs, or our summer programs. And so after 42 years, we are so thrilled to be able to double down on that investment and the state's investment to transform even more young lives of North Carolinians as we are able to do with this new campus. So, you know, it's again another historic day like it was the day in 1980 when we first opened. And, you know, we're able to celebrate this amazing, amazing location on this beautiful piece of property here in Western North Carolina. And we are the first school of our kind in the world in 1980 when we opened. So just think about that innovation that our state had for investing in talent. And now we are the first school of our kind to have a second campus, one in an urban part of North Carolina and one in a rural part of the state. Isn't that amazing? So the journey to get here has been incredible. I can remember back to 2014 when I had the very first conversation about opening a second campus and doing that here in Morganton. And we had some local community members that were really driving this from a grassroots effort. And I want to give a special shout out to Roundtree Collett, who organized that first meeting, and Frederick Reese, who are both here today, for really having the vision and the foresight, and more importantly, the steadfastness to get us to this point today. So thank you, Roundtree and Frederick, for actually, you know, imagining this and helping us be here today. It also takes significant support at the state level to do something like this, and at the UNC system level. And so we have a number of those folks and supporters who are here today that I'll mention a little bit more. But the statewide investment in this institution, you know, started with the NC Connect bond issue back in 2016, but has continued to get us here where we are today. And so I really would like to take just a moment to recognize some of the leaders and supporters who've championed this project. And so I'm going to start with, our biggest investor, and that's the state of North Carolina through the North Carolina General Assembly and their support for us. At the lunch earlier today, I was able to specifically recognize the two local representatives and Representative Blackwell and Senator Daniel for their leadership. And also I want to give a special shout out to Speaker Moore, who's here today to speak at the event, and to Senator Heiss, who is also going to speak at today's event, because we would absolutely 100% not be here without the tremendous support of these individuals. That is for certain. So thank you. We also have had tremendous support from the governor's office, and today representing his office is Secretary Sanders, who's going to speak a little bit later today as well. So Secretary, thank you for making the time to be with us today and speaking at this great event. We have a number of our UNC system Board of Governors here, and Peter Hans, the president of the university system, who has offered tremendous support for this project since he's been in office. And so with all the members of the Board of Governors who are here, would you please raise your hand and let us thank you for your support. And then the NCSSM family, all the members of our Board of Trustees who are here, and former Board of Trustees, our foundation board, Alumni Association, our parent leadership who's here today, our Board of Visitors. We have a lot of folks that are here today that have been here all along the way as we have moved this project forward. So all of our NCSSM leadership, if you wouldn't mind, please raising your hand. We also have a lot of our current, well, in most cases, recently graduated students or current students who made the trip out here today. You heard Bonnie speak, and they have been really amazing in support of this project. And so for all of our current and former NCSSM students and parents who are here today, would you please raise your hand? And I said this at the lunch, but I've said it a lot, quite frankly, because it's been amazing to me, is the overall support that this project has received from really everybody in this community. I really have never been a part of a project where 100% of the people, 100% of the time, were supportive of the project across all sectors. So I'd love to thank all of the economic development folks, our partners in K-12 and higher education, business and industry partners, and just all of the grassroots community support that we've had here in Morganton. So if you're one of those people, which is probably all the rest of you hadn't raised your hand yet, please raise your hand. And I'd also like to take an opportunity to recognize some of our statewide officials who are here, elected officials, who I really think helps to really highlight the importance of this day for our state. We have Secretary of State Elaine Marshall here, Supreme Court Justice Sam Ervin, and Treasurer Dale Falwell. So would you guys please raise your hand? And finally, it's really a privilege for me to be able to recognize and thank the first two leaders for the school. Back in the day, they weren't called Chancellor, but so we'll say that. We'll call them that now because that's what we're called. But the first two chancellors for NCSSM, each of them serving 10 years in that role. So Chuck Elber, who is here with us today. So Chuck knows a thing or two about starting something from scratch, and it had never been done before. And then the second 10 years of the school, John Frederick. Is John here someplace? There he is right there. As I said earlier, truthfully, in my 30-year career, I've never been involved in a project that has had this type of support from everyone. So, again, thank you to all of you for your support in getting us here today. You know, I remember back to the original study that was commissioned by the General Assembly in 2014 to imagine a new campus of NCSSM. And that study at the time envisioned it as a $58 million project that was later funded through NCSSM Connect bond program. We didn't know at that time where it would be located. Now, fast forward to today, you know, we're on this beautiful ridgeline and really couldn't imagine it being any other place but here. And you know what? We also, at this point, cannot imagine it actually costing $58 million either. So that is for sure. I'm not sure what we were thinking about, that we could build an entire campus with 7 buildings, you know, 3 historic renovation and 4 new buildings at that time. And at that time, we certainly didn't foresee a global pandemic in which we tried to build it in the middle of. So we all know today that 2014 dollars don't go as far as 2022 dollars. That is for sure, or vice versa, actually. So, it's quite amazing that we're here, and that's only because this was always envisioned to be a public-private partnership. To get us to this point, and it has really helped steer us through these challenging times, the level of private support we've had. When the video was done, it was mentioned that we had raised $10 million privately. Thrilled to say we've raised more than $12 million privately to fund this campus and have over 300 donors who have contributed to making this dream a reality. And as we sit here today, we are only $4 million away from having all the dollars we need to build this campus. So when you walk past Joyner Hall, if you want your name on it, you know what the cost is, so we can get that for you. Or to our friends in the General Assembly, keep up that good work. I want to take a moment to thank our design team and the construction company that has helped build this beautiful, beautiful campus here. Our design team is due to Payne architects, and as you can see as you walk the campus and look around this, they had a great vision for painting this beautiful canvas that is our campus. And I'd also like to thank Barnhill Contracting Company for all of your work getting us here today, because as you all know, it's been a challenging environment to build anything, much less a campus. And so if you haven't had a chance to tour the Residence Hall or the Commons or Goodwin Hall before you leave today, I would encourage you to do it. They are absolutely, absolutely beautiful. And as a matter of fact, two of them, the Residence Hall and the Commons, we only got occupancy on Tuesday, so you'll be one of the first few people to see it. So let me just recognize Taran Duda, who's here from Duda Payne Architects, and Bob Barnhill, who's here from Barnhill Contracting Company. There's Taran. And our campus is just the beginning of what I hope can happen on this larger 800-acre property. You all see how gorgeous this piece of property is, and really excited about what can happen in this part of the state that has so much talent and so much opportunity. And we're just really thrilled to be a part of the long history of this region and now a partner in its future. Incredible things are yet to come. I want to say that the thing that really attracted me to NCSSM in the first place 12 years ago was the amazing opportunity that it provides for young people all across our state. And we owe a debt of gratitude for the state, for 42 years supporting this institution in a bipartisan way, and now doubling down on their investment. 10 other states have schools that were modeled after us that were open, and none of them, to this point, maintain this opportunity at no cost to the students of their state. And so not only has our state done that, but they're doubling down on it. So, and it's been a great investment. We did a recent economic impact study for our institution about a year and a half ago, and NCSSM contributes back $1.3 billion in annual economic impact to the state of North Carolina through our more than 12,000 alumni and the work of the school. So for the state's roughly $37 million investment now with Morganton, that's a heck of a ROI on that, I would say, for sure. And we look forward to growing that now with 150 more graduates that we will have each year. So that multiplier effect over time is going to be significant. And to really just highlight the value of the institution and its mission to invest in talent across our state, I want to call out just a few of our alumni who are here today. I believe Eric Trone is still here today. Eric, are you here? If you're here, raise your hand. There's Eric right there. So Eric is a class of 1991 from Raleigh, North Carolina.
And he was the first, one of the very first engineers at Red Hat and is now the co-founder of Pendo, one of North Carolina's fastest growing companies. And the story goes that when Red Hat opened and was around for about a year or so, they were going to relocate to Silicon Valley, like a lot of people do. But Eric wasn't going to leave, and so they stayed. So, so that just goes to show you. So you got a lot of thanks go to Eric for the investment of Red Hat and now Pendo. I also want to highlight one of our local Morganton alumni, Kim Gregg. Is Kim here this today? I thought Kim was maybe going to be here today, but she's a local Morgantonian who graduated in the class of '88 and has done an amazing job, an extremely successful orthodontist. And I want to recognize Carl Rydeen. I see Carl right back there, so Carl, raise your hand. Carl is class of 1989 and grew up near Goldsboro, North Carolina, was the founder of Precision Lender, a company that was very, very successful here in North Carolina. And I also want to highlight one of our alumni who's an executive at Google from Halifax County, class of 2007, Wayne Kimball, right there. So it's not just the economic development, but the leadership that alumni provide. And we're fortunate to have with us a number of alumni who have been significant leaders for our state. I'd love to recognize State Senator Ralph Heiss, class of '94, right there. Former State Representative Jonathan Jordan, class of '86, is somewhere right here, right there. And I believe former State Senator Erica Smith was going to be in attendance. I haven't seen her, Erica, but if she's here, please raise her hand. So all of these folks are providing significant leadership for our state through the General Assembly. You know, Carl Rydeen that I just mentioned always says, one of the lines I love that he says is that NCSSM was an equity investor in his future, and now he's an equity partner in NCSSM's future. And I believe that's true for all of our alumni. All of our alumni are partners in North Carolina's future. That is for certain, and they have done amazing things. So would all of our alumni who are here today please stand? So in just two short years from now, we will graduate nearly 500 students every year. 42 years ago, the first class was 150. You know, the great thing about NCSSM is that, you know, zip code does not define talent. If you talked about the folks I just mentioned, they're from all over North Carolina. So zip code does not define talent, but we do know that zip code can affect opportunity. And so one of the great things about this state and the way that it established this institution was to sort of bridge that gap. So with the ongoing investment at NCSSM Morganton, we're going to be able to have more talented students from all over the state, all the way from the Outer Banks to the Blue Ridge Mountains, and we're going to be able to serve more of those students. And let me tell you, I was blown away by our first class. So our first class, we just admitted in April, from NCSSM Morganton, and they will be starting here in August. As a matter of fact, exactly, you know, 3 months from now, they will be coming here and moving in to this campus. And so they are coming from every part of the state. It's one of the things opening a new campus you don't know, well, what's that going to look like when the students arrive? And it's amazingly diverse geographically. We have students from the Outer Banks. We have students from the Triangle, the Triad, Charlotte, you know, all the way to the border with Tennessee coming here. And in every way, the first class of students for NCSSM Morganton is as diverse as the student body on the Durham campus. And that's something that we're really excited about and really proud of. And so the first class is going to be awesome. Can you imagine being one of 150 students to have the run of this place for an entire year? I mean, unbelievable. And not only are we going to be able to serve more students in the residential program, it's going to allow us to expand our online and virtual learning programs and our summer programs here at NCSSM. As a matter of fact, just the day after tomorrow, we'll have our first group of summer students moving into that building right there. So we are looking forward to having students running around this campus. And so you can just imagine what that's going to be like, having these young people on the campus. It's going to be really just truly awesome. I want to, now just give a special shout out to the team at NCSSM because, creating a master plan, building a campus, designing a curriculum, hiring, more than 60 people this year to be on this campus has been a heavy lift. And that's on top of their already full-time jobs of running NCSSM and working at NCSSM. So, as an example of what they've done, as I mentioned, they've hired 60 people just in the past 10 months. So you can imagine what that's like during this current economy, being able to do that. And so if all of our team from NCSSM could please stand just for a round of applause, because what you've done is nothing short of miraculous. I mean, we have had and always had an incredible team at NCSSM, and I want to take a moment to just to highlight the new members of the team that are NCSSM Morganton. I remember in the earliest days of this conversation, folks were like, well, are you going to be able to attract that kind of talent that you have at NCSSM to go to Morganton and work in Morganton in that more rural environment? And let me tell you, boy, have we attracted an incredibly talented team here, not just from all across North Carolina, but really all across the country. We have faculty and staff here from the West Coast, from South Dakota, from Maine, from Louisiana, and all places in between. So those of you that lived in Morganton, you have a treat ahead of you to have these folks as a part of your community, and we really have a treat ahead of us to have them a part of Team NCSSM. So again, we're excited to have you all here. And I want to take this moment to give a special shout out to Kevin Baxter. He's been acting like he's the MC of the program here today, which he is. But he has been the leader for this campus out here since 2016, when we made the great decision to hire him away from East Carolina University to come in and lead this project. And for all of you that know, raising $12+ million, building an entire campus in the middle of a pandemic, all of those kind of things, attracting an amazing, talented group of people here. Kevin gets my share of the credit for that. So Kevin, thank you for your leadership. I also just want to mention that it's not, just the team of people that work at the school that have made this possible. It's really the extended family that we have at NCSSM, which include our parents, our alumni, our students. And I just want to highlight for you how much all of the community has bought into this new campus. This is an example. Our parent association, which is kind of like our PTA sort of, they have donated a hammock garden. So if you go between Goodwin and Joyner Halls, there's a space of green grass there that's going to be full of hammocks. So when you come back in the fall and want to take a load off, there's a good spot to do that right there. Our Alumni Association is gifting a state-of-the-art data visualization wall that will connect the Durham and the Morganton campus. So students on both campuses can go by this wall and have an opportunity to connect with one another from afar. Our faculty and staff senates have collaborated on 2 pieces of art that were designed by students and brought to life in our fabrication lab in Durham that'll be donated. And I want to give a special call out to a piece of artwork that our student government, or a couple of pieces of artwork that our student government commissioned from one of our recently graduated seniors, Mac Barnes, who's here with us today. Mac, where are you? Right over there. Mac actually just flew in late last night from New York, where he was being celebrated at Carnegie Hall as the National Gold Medal winner for his art, which is a series of quilts called A Walk in Their Shoes. They're fascinating if you look at them. And he's also created for this event 2 companion pieces, one that will hang in the Durham campus called Portrait of an American, and the other that hangs, you can see it in the Academic Commons, that is Portrait of NCSSM, which let me just tell you, they took 600 digital photographs, took those photographs, ran it through the Bridges supercomputer to get that image of what a future NCSSM kid would look like. And so it's really, and then he quilted it. So it's really an amazing piece, and I would encourage you to take a look at that. And finally, I want to express our gratitude to our colleagues in the UNC system here. I mentioned President Hans for his amazing leadership. We have a number of other folks that have made the trip out here that, in the budget area, finance and construction that are here, the educational team that have been critical for us and our success. And we also have Chancellor Everts from Appalachian State and Chancellor Cole from the School of the Arts here. So if all of our colleagues and friends in the UNC system who have made this possible, without you we couldn't have done it, would you please just raise your hand or stand so that people can recognize you? And lastly, I'm going to give thanks to our closest educational allies throughout all of this, and those are folks right here on this campus, the folks at Western Piedmont who've been at the table from the very beginning, our good friends at the North Carolina School for the Deaf, for which this 62 acres used to be a part of their project, and we have a ton of collaboration going on with them, and the folks in the Burke County Schools. So we have some amazing supporters in the local area as well as our UNC system that are making things possible and will make things we can't even imagine possible as we collaborate going forward in the future. So in closing, NCSSM's mission is important to our state. And this was true in 1980 and even more so today. And we are blessed to be expanding what we can do in this amazing place for our great state. So again, I just want to thank all of you for being here today. And just look around. It's amazing and it's fantastic. And everyone here should be proud of what we're celebrating today and take credit for it being here. So thank you for being here today and for all your support along the way. I really appreciate it. Now I get the distinct pleasure to introduce North Carolina's Secretary of Commerce, Michelle Baker Sanders. Governor Cooper appointed Michelle Baker Sanders to lead the North Carolina Department of Commerce in February of 2021, enlisting her experience as former administration secretary with a strong background as a business leader and her extensive knowledge of what it takes to build a globally competitive workforce. Secretary Sanders' vision for North Carolina's post-pandemic economic restoration is to work with partners to attract better paying jobs, support small businesses, and stimulate our state's innovation and entrepreneurial economy. Her bold and purposeful leadership aims to ensure North Carolina's diverse state is an inclusive one that works for all people. So Secretary Sanders is a great friend to NCSSM, and I'm very happy to welcome her to the stage.
Thank you, Chancellor Roberts, for that introduction, and good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Governor Roy Cooper and the entire team at the North Carolina Department of Commerce, I bring you greetings and congratulations on the new North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics campus in Morganton. It's great to say that. So we are excited to celebrate this outstanding occasion that not only celebrates the institution's expansion with its second campus here in the Western North Carolina, but also their continued commitment in having North Carolina's best and brightest young minds, the next generation of leaders, critical thinkers, communicators, creators, problem solvers, innovators, advocates, entrepreneurs, change agents, and yes, mentors as well. For more than 4 decades, North Carolina School of Science and Math has been nurturing, teaching, challenging, and inspiring our future pipeline of highly skilled talent. The impact of this entity goes almost without saying, really. Educating our youth, preparing our young people to continue their education, join communities, enter the workforce, and contribute to society is one of the most vital roles that exist. And STEM education and careers are critical components of our current success and our future economic success. They are the medical researchers, the doctors, data scientists, engineers, analysts, developers, statisticians, the ones who are creating toolbox for a pandemic like a vaccination, the future economists of the world. And we need all of these people to continue to address the problems that we are all faced with. Filling the STEM pipeline with a diverse group of educated and disciplined, highly skilled workers is important to North Carolina in continuing to grow a globally competitive workforce. Investing in the education of our most talented students from every corner of our state will ultimately stimulate our state's innovation and entrepreneur economy. And that's to be commended, that North Carolina School of Science and Math students will serve our economy well. This entity also focuses intently on our underserved populations in Tier 1 and Tier 2 counties, ensuring a diverse and inclusive experience that transforms lives. Now, because I know you're all excited and pleased that they are not just transforming lives, but they are also going to have an impact not only on the lives today, but for generations to come. Also, near and dear to my heart is one of the institution's founding goals has been to reserve at least 50% of its enrollment for girls. And I'm sure you understand why I'm biased to that. So coming from a STEM background myself, with a degree in biochemistry and over 30 years of biopharma experience, and after having raised twin daughters, and I should say still raising twin daughters, I can tell you beyond the shadow of a doubt that yes, women can lead, women can also do hard and important work, and women can also change the world for better. I should change it and say women are leading, women are doing hard and important work, and women are changing the world. And that will take place here as well with the women at the North Carolina School of Science and Math. So we need more STEMists. I'm so proud of this new campus and so proud that it will amplify that mission of inclusion and diversity, as well as equity. North Carolina School of Math and Science has had a long-standing presence in North Carolina through continued investment in our state and the continued commitment for educating our children. The STEM-related jobs are all vital to our economic growth, and our state has a large demand for STEM workers. North Carolina's metro areas are among the top ranked for STEM job creation, with Charlotte ranked #1 and Raleigh ranked #5. And these STEM industries are growing each year. These jobs lead to rewarding careers, focusing on solving some of the world's most pressing challenges. Not to mention they also pay well, with an average salary of over $84,000 annually compared to $37,000 for non-STEM occupations. The STEM jobs also have historically had the lowest rates of unemployment and have proven to be more resilient during economic downturns, including throughout COVID-19 pandemic. North Carolina continues to attract and retain the world's leading companies: Apple, Google, Fujifilm, Credit Karma, Eli Lilly, and this recent announcement here of Meritor, who recently announced an expansion here in Morganton. So we are pleased, homegrown and global businesses alike, Choose North Carolina because we are a great place to do business. We have the infrastructure that is needed, and we continue to focus on making sure that we will have the infrastructure needed. Most importantly, we have a diverse, skilled pipeline of talent. Recognize that we are facing the challenges of the labor supply shortage. Our Tier 1 research institutions and universities are developing talent pipelines by graduating nearly 30,000 students with STEM degrees annually, thousands of future chemists and engineers and other professions. That's what our top-tier universities are contributing to our workplace. We must continue to build a world-class workforce, ready for the jobs today and tomorrow. We must build a resilient post-pandemic economy that will uplift all North Carolinians, including our rural communities and here in Western North Carolina, making sure we support both big and small businesses in our state. And we must continue to transform our business culture with transparent, inclusive, and equitable practices. Our economy is stronger when all of us have the opportunity to participate and to contribute. Now, while Governor Cooper and I are proud to share that North Carolina has the skilled workforce that business leaders seek, we also recognize the importance of further investment. That's why the Department of Commerce has launched our First in Talent plan, which highlights, speaks to, and talks about tactics and strategies to ensure our most valuable asset continues. And that valuable asset is our people, including all of you. Making the people of North Carolina our top priority creates an even stronger workforce that companies can count on to meet their needs. And we're working together with partners like North Carolina School of Science and Math here in Morganton, and I'm confident we will make the workforce system even stronger. In closing, I want to emphasize that days like this, with the preparation of visionary leadership for our state, with collaborative support at the local, regional, and state levels, and through corporate and community partnerships, that's what this is about and has resulted in. So alongside North Carolina School of Science and Math, we prepare for what's next in North Carolina's bright future. Congratulations on the opening of this great school. I know it will bring value, great value, not only to the region, but to all of North Carolina. I wish you all continued success as we work together to prepare future generations to make a mark on the world. Congratulations and be well to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Secretary Sanders. I'm excited for this next speaker. You may have seen in the video earlier, there were two little kids running around at an apple orchard. That's my son Lincoln and daughter Cora, who are a lot bigger now than they were in 2017. And we have a little tradition in my house, once a week, in an unpredictable time and an unpredictable day, they look at me and said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "It's Representative Blackwell calling." And so he's got it down when we're having dinner. So my family loves him, and he's been at one dinner a week for 5.5 years. And so we are thrilled to have him as our chief ambassador and advocate for this project, and he's really done an incredible amount for this school and this space. Please welcome Representative Hugh Blackwell.
I'll have to say at starting that Kevin was demonstrating what a good job Todd did in picking him for this job, because he took my call each time, and that's why we're here today. When I was asked to speak to you, they said briefly. And you'll notice that Kevin, who was responsible for the program, reiterated it by saying that my remarks are brief. So I'm going to try. It's an exciting day. I don't want to be repetitious of a lot of the thoughts that have already been expressed, but I suppose for me, a key thing to be excited about is that we all know the importance of science and math and technology to the future of our children, our grandchildren, and to the future of this state. And this school allows us to expand the number of opportunities for some of the top students in the state of North Carolina, which continues to grow at a strong pace, to take advantage of one of the most excellent high school educations in the nation, if not the world, as Todd Roberts would like you to believe. And I suspect he's right. So increasing those seats is important. But the other piece that's exciting to me is that it's here in Western North Carolina. It's saying to people from outside the state and to people within the state, this kind of quality education, this kind of education for the future is available wherever you choose to live in the state. And I'm so grateful that the legislature joined in making the decision to locate this second campus here. There are various data points that we could look at to illustrate the significance of what has happened already in the Durham campus. I'll just give you one. As of the most recent data I saw, 1 out of every 4 graduates from the Durham campus over the years has ended up with a PhD. Those folks are getting PhDs in the science and technology that are the cutting edge jobs, cutting edge industry, cutting edge healthcare, you name it, that we all benefit from. And we're being a part of that and extending that opportunity here. Being in the House, it doesn't take you long, in House of Representatives in Raleigh, it doesn't take you long to learn that as one legislature, you can't do much on your own. You have to network. So I don't want to make the mistake of failing to at least call on or recognize my fellow House members and some former House members who are here today with us. If they would, since we're House members, instead of asking you to raise your hand, you get to stand. So if you would, if you're in the North Carolina House or formerly like Nathan and Jonathan, y'all stand up so we can see. Yeah, John Fraley. Okay. Just by way of reference, my quick survey is we've got Watauga, Randolph, Buncombe, Ashe, and there's one more that was back there that I'm overlooking. But in any event, it's a good cross-section, and we didn't get here without them. I also need to quickly say, because the Senate is a very sensitive body, I am not overlooking you, but a fellow senator can do a much better job than a House member of recognizing other members of the Senate, so I'm going to leave that to Warren. This is the part where I hopefully get really brief. Give you just a little bit of history, and here again, I want to apologize in advance because I'm going to mention a few names or groups, but it's not without being very conscious of the huge number of people who played critical roles at various times in getting this authorized so that it could happen, and then getting the follow-up funding that we needed. Someone has already mentioned, but I think in the summer of 2013, Senator Daniel and I were able to get in the state budget a provision for a study to be done on whether to have a campus here or somewhere else, and whether to have a second campus. Drew Moretz is here. He used to be the representative for the UNC system. In January of 2014, he sent me that report that I thought was a little equivocal, frankly. So we had to work to shore it up. In February of 2014, I was visited in my office in Raleigh by a class of 4th graders from Morganton. They wanted to know, well, Representative Blackwell, what do you actually do? The person who asked that question, as I recall, was John Collett. And John Collett's mother, who's now a member of the NCSSM Board of Trustees, Dr. Ellen Collett, was in the group. And almost immediately, Ellen got in touch and said, what can Roundtree and I do to help? And that's where I think we sort of got started with organizing community and business support. And ultimately, that led us to get a meeting in the conference room of Speaker Tim Moore in Raleigh. We made our presentation to the speaker. My recollection of the way it happened was, at the end, Speaker Moore stood up and said, let's do it. And now we are doing it. I think maybe I started to say it's done, but I'd like to put a little bit of pressure on President Hans, the Speaker, and since Senator Heiss is here, there's the highest ranking member of the Senate who's present. Chancellor Roberts, if we're really going to double down, I think we ought to double down on the number of students, not the number of campuses. So instead of 2 campuses with 300 here and 600, we need to have 600 here. So let's get that planning process going. I can assure you that we have the quality of students in this state that we can easily fill those extra seats. We just need to start planning for it. So it's my pleasure now to introduce our next speaker. He's our friend and neighbor from just south in Cleveland County, the Speaker of the North Carolina House of Representatives, the Honorable Tim Moore.
Come here. Well, good afternoon. I told Hugh not to go anywhere because I really can't say enough about the work that this guy did to make this a reality. For those of you who live in this region, know that this was a topic that he talked about daily. I mean daily, several times a day, because he passionately believes in it. And he fought very hard. He and Warren wore the place out, making the case. And at the end of the day, after laying out how do you get here, how do you pay for it, laying out all the metrics, it is amazing to see a reality. You know, there are a lot, and I'm gonna introduce by name our colleagues. You took part of my job, by the way, just for the record, you know. All right, well, there you go. You're okay, you're all right. Anyway, but thank you. I was gonna brag on you some more, but I still will. Well, what I do want to say is this, is that the entire Western delegation from North Carolina really leaned in on this project. You don't just come and create a new campus like this just every now and then. And there are folks who serve in the state legislature that will sometimes spend many years and look back and say, you know, what do you have to show for it? And I'm going to tell you something, that you and Warren and Ralph, I know, was in on this as an alum, really leaned in a big way and can look back and say many years from now when you guys are done with Jones Street, can look back and see an amazing difference that was made for your work and for the lives of North Carolinians. It's absolutely incredible. Hugh introduced as a group, but I do want to call out some of our members who are here so that those of you who don't know them will know who they are. Representative Hurley, who is here from Randolph County. Representative Hurley, it's good to see you with us here today. I'll introduce Dave Craven because he's almost a House member and a senator. He's our 121st member. So, Dave, good to see you as well. But I'll let the senator formally introduce you there. Representative Pickett from up in Watauga County. Ray, where are you? Over here he is, Ray. Glad to have you here. Sitting there beside. Keep Mr. Byers in line if you don't mind. And Representative Hastings, my colleague from Cleveland County as well, who's here with us. I don't know where Kelly got to, but he's here. Who's with us as well, and several former members who are here as well. Of course, Jonathan Jordan was already mentioned. Del Falwell was already mentioned as well. But Nathan Ramsey, Nathan, I know you worked really hard on this. Jonathan Ryan, who worked hard on this as well, and then of course John Fraley. John is presently on the UNC Board of Governors, and Jonathan Ryan is on the Golden Leaf Foundation. So these are folks who have left the General Assembly and even still today continue to contribute. Look, my remarks really will be brief. This is an absolutely transformative project, not only for Western North Carolina, but for so many young people. I was absolutely impressed
at the distinguished alum who were here today and others who were referenced. This makes a difference. This is an opportunity where North Carolina not only is producing the best and brightest for the world, but also through the program with the university system and tuition to retain those students to stay here when it comes to higher ed as well. This is something that's going to pay dividends for many, many years to come. The opportunities to expand here, the opportunities to partner and be a part of other economic development are absolutely endless. And so this is an absolutely tremendous day. It's an amazing opportunity to be able to commemorate, and it is something that so many here with us today and so many who weren't here as well should be so proud of. And it has truly been transformative. And my pledge to you is, of course, that we're going to continue to invest. Chancellor, you'll be surprised. You're the first person who's asked me for anything in the last couple of weeks out of the budget. Nobody's asked for anything. It's been amazing. You're like first in line. Yeah. There you go. There you go. So just know this. This project, this campus, this entire mission of the School of Science and Math is something that has complete support by our General Assembly. We're very proud to see this, and I want to thank each and every one of you. I know so many businesses already referenced contributed so much. This is something that will and is making a difference in the lives of so many in our great state. Thank you all, and God bless.
You get yours too. Hold on now, Senator Daniel. We've got to make sure you know the distinguished gentleman that's about to join us on stage, who's been a phenomenal job and been a phenomenal advocate for this community in this region. For those who had the opportunity to join us for under a tent a lot smaller than this at our groundbreaking, you got to hear from Senator Daniel and about the connection he and his family have to this campus and to this community. You also learned at that event that the playground he was really fond of was bulldozed the week prior. And so we are excited that we've created a new playground for students all across the state, and we hope that you will come over and visit them early and often. Please welcome Senator Warren Daniel to the podium.
Well, Kevin knows I'm a nostalgic person. My wife knows that, and my remarks are going to reflect that. But before I start those, I do want to thank Kevin for the opportunity to give the Senate the cleanup position behind the House. So we like to bat cleanup, especially after the Speaker, who is a good friend of mine, by the way, at least was. But I want to thank you, Chancellor Roberts, Vice Chancellor Baxter, alumni, and all the staff and faculty of NCSSM, distinguished guests, for allowing Lydia and myself to share this auspicious occasion with you on such a beautiful day in Western North Carolina. And as others have said, this is truly a historic moment for our state. In the time that I've served in the legislature, one of the things I have observed and a lesson that I've learned is that while elected officials, institutional leaders, and the many other stewards of our state come and go, the institutions that we build together, we build them to endure. And this is certainly evident on the campus where we sit today, a school built for the deaf, established in 1891 by state and local leaders who looked to the future and had a vision that our state should better serve and help our hearing impaired children. This vision took root now more than 130 years ago, and it still stands today. During the first few years of my legislative service, when I lived only a mile from this spot, in fact, I've lived probably more than half of my life a mile from this spot, I would often jog around the campus, and whenever I was here, I saw these grand old buildings, particularly Goodwin and Joyner, that were falling into disrepair. I knew that we weren't being very good stewards of the vision that had been built in 1891 with so much care by leaders who came generations before us. And it was during that time, as others have said, around 2012 or 13, that there were many voices in Raleigh advocating that the School for the Deaf be permanently closed. And in their defense, this was not the first time that closure had been recommended, primarily due to declining enrollment and increasing costs. But like most everyone who has called Morganton home, I knew that this school was special and that this campus was special and that we shouldn't allow its legacy to come to an end. But as a legislator, I also knew that once decisions of that magnitude had taken hold among bureaucrats and budget writers, they're often hard to turn around. And as difficult as it might be to reverse a decision to close down a state institution, to create enough of a groundswell of support to build a new one, well, that is an undertaking of a whole different magnitude. And now, as an aside, I want my Senate colleagues to forgive me because I'm about to praise a House member. So I want to thank and give great credit to my fellow legislator, Representative Hugh Blackwell, who I often refer to as the senior member of our delegation, for his initial vision and tenacious advocacy for the addition of a western campus of the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics right here on these grounds. Hugh began working toward this end around 2010 before I began serving in the General Assembly because he believed, as I later came to agree, that our current School of Science and Math in Durham, an institution that is esteemed throughout the country, needed greater capacity for enrollment, and because our state needed greater geographic balance in the educational opportunities we offered to our brightest young minds. To call this project a long shot is an enormous understatement, and I thank Hugh and my House and Senate colleagues who are here today who would agree with me that when we look back to the early days of advocating for this school, I don't know that we actually believed this day would ever come. But with the support of many of you sitting here today, fellow legislators, local elected officials, leaders of business and industry, together we built a strong coalition of support that has led to this day. And by building this new institution on these grounds, we have not only planned for the future, we have renewed our stewardship of the past. Another key supporter in this endeavor, and someone who I'm proud to now introduce to you, is my Senate colleague, Senator Ralph Heiss. As a senior member of the Senate, hailing from the mountains of Mitchell County and the town of Spruce Pine, as well as an alum of NCSSM, Senator Heiss's strong advocacy for the school has played a huge role in allowing us to finally celebrate today. Senator Heiss was first elected to the Senate in 2010 and currently serves as the Deputy President Pro Tem of the Senate. He represents Senate District 47, a district that covers a vast portion of western North Carolina, all the way from the Tennessee border to South Carolina, including Madison, McDowell, Mitchell, Polk, Rutherford, and Yancey counties. So I give you now my colleague and good friend, Senator Ralph Heiss.
Thank you all for this opportunity. It's an exciting day to be here. You know, the enrolling class that's coming this fall, they were in first grade when we started this process here at Science and Math. You know, no one thought it would take 9 years, and, you know, that little debacle where they forgot to appropriate the funds to actually open the school after appropriating $58 million to build it, had to wait a year after that. There's been a lot to this process. I want to start by introducing my colleagues that are here. I think I saw everyone that was here. Senator Ballard from Watauga County, Senator Craven, although the speaker said you're half a House member, so I guess that makes you half a senator too. That's who coming in. Senator Daniels, you've seen, and Senator Woodard, who was the his district has represented all the current Science and Math alum from Durham who came up here to see this happen. You know, it actually was 30 years ago this fall when I stepped onto a Science and Math campus as a student, wearing my elephant skin boots and a belt buckle the size of a small plate. When I came in, the school had probably no idea what to do with me, and I had no idea where I was in that process. But it was an incredible experience, an incredible 2 years there. I would tell, for everybody talks about diversity, you've never seen diversity until you've sat with a class from a North Carolina School of Science and Math. We may all be from science and math backgrounds and from the same state, but there's a reason we're called the unicorns. So thank you. You know, when we started this process, I know Chancellor Roberts has mentioned the study to where the campus was going to be. I'll let you in on a little secret. Sometimes the legislator knows the answer of a study before we actually put it into legislation. and Warren Daniels and others had fought for this, and quite literally the community of Morganton and the surrounding areas were really the only community in the state that were the ones standing up and saying, we want this campus here. There were other considerations, but they were never going to happen. So we knew this campus could be here. We knew we could support this. And we also believe that if you want to be in Western North Carolina, you actually have to have elevation that's coming in. So some of those other campuses, we were going to represent Western North Carolina, and this campus needed to be here for our students. I want to thank the Chancellor also for the request for the budget funding to finish this out, and I'm glad that Peter Hans gets to follow so that he can endorse that request as well from the system office, as well as the one for Appalachian to complete the Hickory campus that's coming in. So I want to make sure, Governor Byers told me if I went over 2 minutes, nobody would be paying attention anyway. So I want to try to honor that as well as I can. But I just want to say thank you. After spending 2 years on the Durham campus, nobody got a view like this. And the opportunity that's really going to be here for our students and for our communities in Western North Carolina to come together and support these students. You know, it's a real comfort. I could go through hundreds of examples in my lifetime with science and math alumni, but things like when I took my mother to a cancer center and I knew that a science and math alumni was running that cancer center. When lobbyists come to the General Assembly and I know the projects that they're supporting and backing up, I know the caliber of the individual that's behind those, and I know the rigors that they've been through in order to support it. And I'm glad that's part of Western North Carolina. I'm glad the General Assembly has chosen to support it, even though it didn't have a chance that's coming in otherwise. Every system in the university owes a huge debt of gratitude to this campus. The Connect bond would not have passed without this project being in there. They simply didn't have the boats to get through the General Assembly without it. That's coming in. As well as most municipalities' water and sewer grants that were conditional upon this campus being here. But thank you all for being here. It's an incredible group. It's an incredible turnout just to welcome this campus, and we look forward to welcoming students this fall. Thank you.
You have one of these events, you learn a lot of things. It's my pleasure now to get to introduce the 7th president of the University of North Carolina system, Peter Hans. President Hans is in his 2nd year as president of the UNC system. Prior to that, was a member of the Board of Governors and was on the Board of Governors, and I think maybe chairing it when this project first came to be. And so he has a long history of supporting this project. He's also been the president of the community college system. He's a native North Carolinian, graduate of the UNC Chapel Hill. So please join me in welcoming Peter Hans.
You know, one of my favorite things about the School of Science and Math, this world-class beacon of excellence in, of course, science, mathematics, engineering, technology. Well, it was dreamed up by a novelist. John Ely was an Asheville native, UNC Chapel Hill grad, and well-known author when Governor Sanford convinced him to join state government as an inventor at large, coming up with new ideas for how North Carolina could lift up its people. And we have him to thank for the Governor's School, the UNC School of the Arts, and the brilliant idea of recruiting some of the state's most gifted high school students and gathering them together. School of Science and Math was meant to not only serve those students fortunate enough to attend, but all of North Carolina, with a mandate to raise the quality of education for young people across the state. It would draw talent from every region, inspiring students everywhere, reminding us all that ability is not tied to geography. Would hire fantastic teachers and give them a mandate to experiment and improve teacher preparation. It would build a cohort of devoted alumni to strengthen North Carolina's role in the world as a leader in science and innovation. Now, those were outlandish goals. It takes a little audacity to create something new, to trust that people will rally to that vision and make it a reality. But North Carolina has always had a talent for outlandish ambition. After all, a world-class university system created and nurtured in what was then a deeply impoverished southern state helped transform North Carolina into a globally competitive economic development powerhouse. And we have earned those unlikely superlatives by nurturing unlikely dreams. We have looked beyond what's easy to consider what's possible. And the School of Science Math may be one of the finest examples of that. You know, Governor Hunt said in his proposal for the school that it can pioneer. It can, in the best experimental tradition of science, establish in microcosm superior elements of education that will permeate our entire system over time. And so for more than 40 years now, this school has pioneered, proving that there is remarkable talent in every corner of our state. And by giving those remarkable young people a place to gather and collide and create, School of Science and Math has made North Carolina a better, richer, more creative place for everyone. And I think a story that good deserves a sequel. So if you think about Durham as Top Gun, Morganton, Top Gun Maverick. And from our legislative friends, it sounds like the box office numbers are going to be good, Chancellor. Look, the truest measure of any society is what it builds for the next generation, how it encourages and provides for its children. What risks will we take to start something new so that a rising generation may thrive? And we're giving a confident, joyful answer to that question today. Now, the simplest, most important thing we can say about Morganton is that it will extend and open extraordinary opportunities to more of North Carolina's young people. The students who pass through these halls will become the teachers and the inventors and the artists and the authors of our shared future. And we'll welcome them onto the campuses of our public universities thanks to the wise and generous provision of free tuition for NCSSM grads. And we'll send them off to some of the finest institutions of learning across the world, carrying their affection for North Carolina and their determination to pay it forward right here at home. North Carolina is a growing state, the 9th largest in the country, still gaining fast. We draw ambitious people from all over the world. We have proven time and again over the past century that North Carolinians are a dynamic bunch, able to meet the changing demands of a fast-changing world. We are, in other words, a place that must keep building, keep raising our sights for the next generation, keep faith that our students will rise to the challenges that lie ahead of them. And I'm proud to be here today to celebrate that hopeful commitment. I thank you, Chancellor, to you and your team, to all of our elected leaders for their vision, and to the good people of Burke County and well beyond. May God bless this ground for generations to follow.
Thank you so much, President Hans. And we have had just spectacular engagement across the UNC system at the school over the 42 years of our history. And most recently, we've been thrilled to engage with our partners at Appalachian State University and Western Carolina University, UNC Asheville, and UNC Charlotte to examine ways that we can collaborate, engage students who come to this site, and really dream up new partnerships for the future. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity to shine a light on all the universities in this part of the state. We're excited now to welcome to the stage a dear, dear friend of both the School of Science and Math and of mine, Sally Sandy. And I'm not saying that just because she was on my interview committee several years ago, but Sally is the city manager here in the city of Morganton, and it's just been incredible to see the community reaction to this opportunity. It is like nothing I have ever experienced. Many of you in the crowd are from Burke County and some from Morganton, and you all know what I'm talking about. There's something special in the water here, and we are just blessed to cherish these relationships. And Sally was on our core planning team in 2017, and every time we need anything, she's a call away. This stage I'm on, everything about this place in terms of the speakers, the wiring. Sally's team came through once again this week because we thought we were going to have 350 people, and whoops, we got to 600. So we called on our friends, and as always, they were here for us, and we value that relationship an incredible amount. Sally, please join me on the stage.
Hello. What an afternoon and what a celebration. I'm very humbled to follow the speakers that you've heard this afternoon because they are the people that make things like this happen. Today, we're celebrating the culmination of a lot of hard work, a lot of partnerships, of the example of how the public and private sector can work together to accomplish great things. And that's when we're at our best. You see a vision, you see collaboration, you see compromise, and you see the end result. And now we're getting to share that with folks all over North Carolina and all over the world, really. I have been involved in talking about opportunities for the 800 acres that this property sits on and ways to use the property, the buildings, to reuse them, to repurpose them for ways that work for North Carolinians since 2008. I have been around in this project from the very beginning discussions when years ago, then Secretary of Commerce Sharon Decker and Dr. Pat Mitchell came to town, visited, we took a van tour through this property and started thinking about what it could be. Today, we're looking at the representation of the intersection of economic development and community development. And that's really cool to a manager. We are looking at a project that, as you've heard before, has intertwinings of historic preservation. We are preserving and updating our past, preserving it, and putting it alongside the new and our future. And that's another marriage that makes this project work, to take the old and the new and to put that together. We are looking at a project that's main purpose is to educate North Carolina's most talented and brightest young people. I don't know anybody that can't find a passion around that. So thank you all for being here. I also want to commend Chancellor Roberts because I think adding Kevin Baxter into this mix, bringing his passion, his genuineness to this project makes all the difference. And I also want to welcome Kevin's family to this community. They are a dear part of the community and we value you an awful lot. And I'm always happy to answer your calls. You've heard Chancellor Roberts say today, and in my reflection for today, I've heard him say, I don't know how many times, that this is a project that from its very beginning had positive support. Everyone is excited about it, and everyone brings excitement and energy, and that is very unusual. And I'd say that to our folks in the General Assembly who saw the value, who made the investment, who stepped up and did the right thing for the right purpose. And today we're here to celebrate that, so thank you all. Seeing this campus come to life is really, for me, a once-in-a-career opportunity. This kind of thing doesn't happen all the time. A week or so ago, I was traveling on I-40 with my family, and I looked up and saw a billboard. And it was the image of this campus, and it says, "Welcome, students." At that moment, I knew that this was real, and I knew that we really had something to celebrate. So on behalf of our community, on behalf of Morganton and Burke County, and really on behalf of Western North Carolina, I would like to welcome to NCSSM Morganton the faculty, the staff, the future students, and their families. Welcome to our family, and we're happy to have you. And now it's my tremendous privilege to introduce someone to you who has been in this project on the ground fighting for it and a cheerleader for it since it began. And that is Dr. Pat Mitchell. After years of teaching in higher education, obtaining multiple economic development certificates, Dr. Mitchell put her knowledge to work with boots on the ground. She has served as a county manager, an economic development director, and then she took her talents to the North Carolina Department of Commerce as the Assistant Secretary for Rural Development. And that's where she met up with this project and the ideas that we're reaping the benefits for today. Currently, she serves as the director of the Master of Public Administration program at App State. She is a lifelong public servant. She's a tremendous advocate for education and economic development, and she understands what it means when those two things meet. For that, I am very grateful. She is a cheerleader for this project. She's a mentor. She's a role model for everyone who believes in public service. And she understands that great things happen when the public and private sectors work together. She is someone that I admire tremendously. And now I invite her to the stage.
Good afternoon, and I'm humbled to follow someone like Sally Sandy, one of the most respected town managers, city managers across the state of North Carolina. And I work with a number of managers across North Carolina. So I'm truly humbled to be here. Western North Carolina is a unique place. You know, you look at a 23, 25 county swath of land, of geography, and in the north we're anchored by Appalachian State University, a really fine institution of knowledge. If we go south on the southern end, we are anchored by an equally fine knowledge institution, Western Carolina University. And now today we celebrate putting a new knowledge institution right here in the middle between those two fine universities. I spent Memorial Day week in my hometown of Buchanan, Michigan. Had a great time, very small town, local parade, you know, all those things that a small town does. And I took many pictures of people, of events, of things that were happening. And last week, as I'm sitting and reading, my iPad pops a message in and said they have created a new memory for me. So I tap on the video my iPad has created, and I get to relive my experience the previous week in Buchanan, Michigan. And I looked at all the pictures, but it was the last two pictures, the last two frames that were important in that video. The first one was of a grandmother sitting on a floor with her 8-month-old grandchild, and she was teaching him to build blocks. And little Malachi was struggling with that. He couldn't get his chubby little fingers around those big blocks, and she was instructing him on how to do that. The last frame on the video is full frontage of Malachi smiling into the camera and holding 2 blocks very confidently. He had mastered that. To me, the message of that video was the older generation teaching the younger generation about building blocks in tools to create a future. And that is what we're doing here. It's what we are celebrating today. Very soon, young men and women will come in these doors. They won't be here very long. and they'll learn new knowledge, they'll create knowledge, they will learn about innovation, they will learn about creativity, and then they leave, and when they leave, they have been provided the building blocks, however they use those, to create a future. How does this happen, this kind of project? I teach in a graduate program at App State, and I teach in government studies. So I teach public management, I teach economic development, local government administration. And when I have a class of students that are aspiring to be town and county managers or department heads, on their last night of class for their coursework, I walk them through an exercise. And the exercise is I assign them to a town. Okay, Brad, you're going to a town of 1,500 people. You have to be successful. And throughout the coursework, we talk a great deal about capacity. What is capacity? How do we use it? Why does the public sector need it? Etc. And so I tell them as I assign them, okay, the sort of catch is when you get to your new town, you have one capacity. What do you want the capacity to be? And invariably, it has never failed of the many times I've done it, they want financial capacity. And I ask them, okay, when you get to your town, as long as you have money in the bank, you're going to be successful. Remember, your success is defined, is your town thriving? And then another student will say, well, I don't know, we need some people. And I ask them, well, do you want human resource capacity? Well, another student will say we need infrastructure, and they'll spend a lot of time talking about infrastructure, above the ground and below the ground. And if we carry it out, it's always taken about 20 minutes. A student who typically has not said anything yet will say, when I get to my town, I want leadership capacity. And that's the answer. That's how we do things like you have done in this community, leadership capacity. My first conversation about this project was with Representative Blackwell, as you might guess. He called me over to his office, and he told me, and I'd been at Commerce about 2 months, he told me that he was trying with his colleagues to get some grant money appropriated into the Department of Commerce, and with that money, he had a great deal of concern about what was going to happen here as the new hospital was opening, vacating buildings, going into their new facility, and what would happen to these buildings that were all of a sudden empty. And he thought it was a good idea to plan ahead. So he wanted me to go back and talk to Secretary Decker, whether she would accept this money into Commerce and if we would lead a visioning or a planning project for these empty buildings that might occur. She jumped at the chance. We got the money, $400,000 first round, but he was able to come up with more eventually. And Commerce contracted with the Development Finance Initiative at the School of Government under Tyler Mulligan. And some incredible planning took place that was referred to eventually as the Broughton District. In the midst of all that, Representative Blackwell, Senator Daniel, and others at the General Assembly really reignited the conversations they'd been having about this wonderful institution. But it doesn't take just the state. And they engaged Speaker Moore, and I know Roundtree and some other executives made a trip into the Speaker's office and sat around and talked about this project and how important it was. And the state has a critical role in this, but it takes local leadership too. Sally Sandy and her administration and the Morganton elected officials, Brian Steen and the county administration and the county commissioners, those elected officials, all had to come together through at times, very difficult conversations, and then the decisions after those conversations were also more difficult. But look at what you have today in this community. The young people that will come here and leave from here will be the beneficiaries, certainly, of what you have created. Western North Carolina, the state of North Carolina, the borders beyond The future generations are going to benefit from what will be done at this school. I commend each and every one of you that have touched this project in some way. You have played your roles extremely well through very difficult times to have this creation, this knowledge institution here. Thank you for what you have done, and God bless this young generation that is going to come into these doors and be our future. Thank you very much.
Well, I know it's been a long program, and I'm going to end it with just a few final remarks. First, I want to thank everybody who spoke today for being here, everybody who is attending here. Again, as many people have said, we wouldn't be here today looking at this amazing campus and celebrating the start of NCSSM Morganton without everybody in this room and many, many more. We are just 2 months away from welcoming the very first class of NCSSM to this campus, and just 2 days away from welcoming the first group of students that will sleep in those beds right over there for our summer program. So this dream is truly a reality, and we at NCSSM couldn't be more grateful for the support and more excited about the opportunity ahead for the next 42 years of this institution. And so thank you again for everything that you've done to make today possible. And I'm going to invite up Kevin to sort of close us out in the logistics of everything from going from here. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
So this project was supposed to yield a campus that would open in 2021. As you heard, there's a lot of disruptions to that, so we're opening in 2022. So really, 25 minutes after the scheduled end time isn't that bad when you really think about it. I do want to thank and ask you to join me in thanking Earl and Kathy Elkins for their tremendous job signing today's program. And I also want to give one additional thank you to Dr. Joel Welch and the team at Western Piedmont Community College, as well as our partners at the North Carolina School for the Deaf, so ably and incredibly led by Mark Patrick and his team. Thank you both for your partnership to make today happen. And so with that, you entered a tent that was celebrating a campus that hadn't opened, and now the lights can be turned on. Hopefully we can get those restroom locks figured out, and we're going to be in good shape to welcome students in 48 hours. And I would ask each of you, if you have not had an opportunity, as the Chancellor referenced, to please walk back through the Residence Hall to be able to see that, or the Academic Commons behind me to see that space as well. And of course, historic Goodwin Hall that's been brought back to life from its original 1911 construction for the state. We have shuttles on standby so you can escape as soon as you're ready and head back to your vehicles in the parking lot at Western Piedmont. And we just want to say one final time, thank you to all of you. Every one of you has touched this project. You've made it better, and look what you have done. We can't thank you enough. Have a wonderful day.